Good morning.
What are they doing letting that man on a bike anyhow?
That's what I was asking too. Did you see his wife? She looked like she was fucking terrified. Her helmet was on cockeyed, and she just had that like, oh my god, why am I on a bicycle look on her face. Like my wife was like, it's probably been literal decades since either of them even considered getting on a bike.
Dude, so, I mean, he didn't have clips, but he did have a little toe strap. You would think that, they would have thought that through a little bit better.
It's hard to not just think that like they're trying to make it look like we have an inept president, right? Like that has to be like the higher level goal here, right?
I mean, I think they're trying to make it look like we have a competent, fully functional, like still in good shape president, and every time they put him up there, he shows that they're completely wrong on that.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like that's what we're supposed to be seeing, right? But like really trying to make people lose faith. I don't know.
There is a theory. There is like a conspiracy theory about that. I was reading an article about it the other day.
I don't know if it's the same one you're thinking, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me that it's like, whatever this is okay, they have to make it look really bad. Okay, we're going to come in with a better solution or whatever. Democracy doesn't work this time. We're just going to put somebody in there. I don't know, something like that. Got me scared of whatever's after this.
I mean, that's what I've been saying for a while.
I guess that's always true, though, huh?
Yeah, the one that comes next is the one that I'm worried about.
It's gotten worse every time, ever.
Well, since we are talking about Biden and his gaffes or whatever you want to call them, apparently Biden said you can you can define America in one word. Let's see.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
Is that a green screen?
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
What is going on?
He says America is a nation that can be defined in one word.
Okay, all right. I thought my connection was shite.
No,
wow.
He's not able to get the word out. I mean, your
Maybe
connection might be shit. But
strong black women he's flanking himself with can step in and pick up for him.
Wow, that was a.
I don't know if Kamala could. I'm not
Say
entirely
the same
positive.
thing.
I'm not entirely positive that she would be
trip
able to
over
put
the
together.
first part of it. America. So I got a question. Well, whatever. Well, we'll get there later, I guess. No, I don't know, man. Like it's like it's wild that they are. It's this bad, and that it's on
Full display.
Yeah. And like. I mean, you can't like not let him do these things, right? You can't not let him like give a speech. You can't not let him talk. But at the same time, like you could do a better job at not letting him talk or find a.
I don't know. They did a pretty damn good job of it for the first year of his presidency of not letting him out of the White House. Like you very rarely saw him, and he definitely.
Trail.
Yeah, like he was very rarely seen. He definitely wasn't doing speeches. Like they would bring him out. They would have him do like a press conference where he would talk, and then as soon as he was done, they would march him out. They wouldn't let him answer questions or anything. I mean, they did a really good job for all of 2021 of keeping him out of the spotlight. So why did they suddenly start putting him out there this year? Like,
because they had to make the president make an appearance.
Well, then I guess like what are they gearing up for? I guess like who comes next, what comes next, and what are they gearing up for? Is it like the abolishment of a president? Is it age cap on president? Is it, like you were suggesting a while ago, you pull him at the last possible minute and, replace him with Pelosi or something.
He did
I
in
got
his.
dogs chasing a chicken. Hold on.
Yeah, I was screwed up. My noise, and mute myself and take all the squeaky noise away from the dog.
And it's like, Dag's got Morty trying to kill whatever the squeaker toy is. Clyde's got his dogs chasing chickens. My dog is just over here chilling.
Oh, yeah. Sweet boy.
He thinks that's his chair. Like he gets mad at me whenever I take a nap in that chair because that's where he wants to be. That was my chair before I ever got you, you big dumbass.
I got it, Corey. I got it. Sorry. Battery attacks my feet. This is what I do for you guys.
So if it's not Mark banging his coffee cup around, or
Can you
Clyde's
maybe
chickens
get your like
cockadoodling
toes in his mouth?
inside the house.
Your
He's got a
toes are too
non-squeaky
big,
one.
your
We're
feet are too big.
It's like a coral snake. Like they can't really bite you very well. They got to get in around the toes.
Yeah, just kind of little nibbles.
Exactly. Oh, damn it. All right.
He found it.
Oh.
He got another one.
All right. I think we're good.
So my wife, I'm here today because my wife has the day off because it's Juneteenth. She's a Fed, but is that appropriation? White people getting Juneteenth off?
Definitely. White people should be working double time on Juneteenth to make up for all the years of slavery when they didn't work and they made
That's a good idea.
to work without pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, white people should
Make
not
them
get paid
and
today.
take the overtime that they would make and like put it into a kitty for reparations. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. That's a damn good idea. We should run for president on that. Yeah.
I agree.
Oh, shit.
Clyde's here today.
Ah! Happy Father's Day.
Oh, thanks. My cat didn't get me anything though.
You mean your cat didn't bring you like a dead lizard or something?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I don't know if she's killed anything larger than a fly.
He put a little tuna juice on things later though.
Get a special treat for Daddy.
They got them sharp teeth though. You gotta be careful.
Sorry for being late. I was out partying Juneteenth too late last night.
Drinking a 40 of malt liquor and eating some barbecue and watermelon,
Something
This
about
is
a
after
certain
his-
kind of cigarettes too.
fried chicken.
Well, after his lynch mob crashed the barbecue, they had to they went ahead and had to eat the food that was sitting around. So
What have I missed thus far?
Oh, Joe Biden falling down,
Oh,
and Joe Biden said he could define, or what was it? America could be defined
It's 8
in.
seconds. Just play it again.
Okay, I'll just play it again. For fuck's sake. Hang on.
Has anybody memed that bike? The bike meme where the guy sticks the stick in
Oh
the
yeah,
spokes?
that
Has
Yes.
anybody done that with Biden?
that got
I
done
haven't seen it.
immediately.
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to
get a couple more of them standing behind him. It's going to look like that Piper Perry meme.
Oh god.
I feel like he's constantly like poking at his eye. Like he's constantly got like bugs in his eye or something.
I assume
he-
he was going for diversity there, right? And I don't. It didn't even sound like that's. I agree with him in part.
For once, I agree with him.
It's the most honest thing he's ever said.
Fuck. So so can I tell you guys about our concert this weekend?
Yes.
Tell us about how you killed the Kennedys.
So me and Niall there went to Jesus Christ. Went to Dead Kennedy show.
You didn't bring Dennis, and he's pretty pissed off about it.
Yeah, he wanted to go start some shit. And it was a pretty good time. Once security was pretty cool about me making a few attempts at entry, with them sending me back to the car after finding weapons. But it's all good. He's like, man, you don't got to be scared of nothing in here. I'm like, I'm not scared of nothing in here, motherfucker. It's out there. You see what's going on out there? Fucking St. Pete, man. It's terrifying. But anyhow, first few bands were good, but so Dead Kennedys goes on, and they have a new it's a different lead singer, right? Than the original guy, and the music was really good. All the songs were good, but in between all the songs, he's going on these political tirades, right? Which it's a punk band, and Dead Kennedys is extremely political, right? So it's I don't necessarily want to be mad at
why
that.
do punk bands suck at politics though?
Right, and everything he's coming in saying is like fuck DeSantis and yay, gay and trans and this and that, and just everything was about inclusivity. And he starts going off about DeSantis again and again, and half the crowd's booing and calling him faggot and shit. It was fucking hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty. That was pretty funny, and you could see the other band members almost looked like they were powwowing, and then went up to the dude and were like, dude, come on, no, read the fucking crowd here. Get back to the tunes. At one point, he puts the drummer, the mic to the drummer, puts him on the spot. The drummer's like, "Oh yeah, we're not too wild about sexism either, And, yay! It's dude, come on. So overall, it was a good time. But I guess what do you fucking expect? Yeah, and I mean, Niall saying there, the original dude probably would have said similar shit. It's just it just sucks because there's so much you could just be J-Lo, yeah, she's coming next week. There is so much legitimate political shit. He could be yeah, let's stop fucking bombing people all over the place, But instead he's we say gay.
I feel like that's I don't know. It's just an uneducated view of politics and what that crowd would be open to. You know what I mean? You think about that punk crowd, and it's yeah, it'd definitely be against killing brown people overseas, and talk about the drug war and stuff like that. Get people on board like that, not this stupid what's in your pants bullshit. Nobody cares. Go to the parade in New York City if you want to do that, but.
Well, yeah, and in doing a concert
maybe
in downtown St. Pete, which is our San Francisco, you're preaching to the choir, dude. There's nobody in that crowd who's I don't like them gays. They're just not there.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Talk about ageism in Florida, probably.
Yeah, you wouldn't catch Mark at something like that. Way too many gays. Oh fuck! We're walking in. There's a front line, and there's these two obvious lesbians. One of them's got a shirt that says gay, and one of them's got a shirt that says feminist. And we walk by them, and me and Niall look at each other, and we're like, "Hey, dude, I think those guys are gay."
Pretty sure.
Yeah, man, I was getting that drift.
I don't know for certain, but pretty confident in my assessment.
Yeah, it just seems unnecessary. I don't know. I don't get it. But I mean, I haven't been oppressed like that my whole life, so.
Well, did it make you feel old?
What's that?
Did it make you feel old going to that concert?
It did, and a lot of it was just because of how many older people from me were there. I'm seeing the whole progression. I see some young kid punks and old man punks, and I'm kind of in the middle.
You've seen a lot of gray hair.
Yeah, I think the bassist of Dead Kennedys had all gray hair,
Well,
but,
I got to feel really old this weekend.
Yeah, I was going to ask about your name.
I mowed the yard yesterday.
Oh fuck!
And
man.
apparently,
how are you even up and moving today?
Apparently, I'm gonna have to start stretching before I mow. I barely slept
Don't you have
last night.
children?
My hips and ankles are so fucked. Like I've
My hips.
been in here in the
Oh,
living
my
room
hips
floor.
are sore.
I've been in here in the
Dude.
living room floor, just laid out, like stretching all morning, and I'm finally after
Your
about
hips
like
are sore because you went all out on the Juneteenth thing and just had everybody, come over.
It's true what
Well,
they
I
say.
want to know what going all out on Juneteenth looks like. But
so Juneteenth isn't a gay holiday. In fact, the black community is not real partial to the gay community, at least traditionally.
Tradition.
this is true.
You go black, you end up in a wheelchair.
The only thing that pisses me off about that is they're allowed
Dennis
certain
did not
levels
think
of
that was
homophobia that I'm not allowed.
He's not okay with that.
Dennis did not think that was funny at all.
I
No.
thought most dogs are racist too, but maybe not Dennis.
I
Dennis
had-
is a very inclusive guy.
That little Maltese I brought over from Korea. I had him in the front seat of the car one time. And I'm driving through Albany, New York, which is big, I guess, city up there, up northern New York, or upstate New York, and I had the window down, and some black guy comes over and starts asking me for directions. And this little dog who never barks or tried to bite anybody went bonkers on this guy, trying to jump out of the car to attack this guy. I was like, oh God, I have a racist dog. Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
I knew getting that MAGA bandana was a bad idea.
I don't know. I didn't know what to, I'm like, great. Now I look like, a racist with this. I trained my little 4-pound Maltese to attack black guys. Awesome.
He hates everybody who doesn't live here, except for my stepdaughter, my stepdaughter, the oldest one. She doesn't live here, and whenever she comes over, he's perfectly fine with her. He loves her to death. But my stepson, if he comes over, he's trying to bite him. If any of my wife's family, they come over, he's trying to bite all of them. He doesn't like anybody that doesn't live in this house.
It's a good dog.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if he wouldn't try to bite, literally everybody that walks in the door when we do like to invite friends over from time to time. But whatever.
Oh man,
So what do we have to
kept
talk
hearing.
about today?
So I got to tell you guys right now. I had a video running in the background on Odyssey, and I didn't realize that it was there, and the lag is so bad. So every 15, 30 seconds, I'd hear this muffled voice in the background, and I thought it was one of you guys had a TV on in the background or something, and I just figured it out.
Yeah, I think
What time is it?
Steven's in the
10,
chat. asking
20 minutes in. 20 minutes in, it took me to figure that out, that it was my end.
All these
Weird.
old guys today.
We were on top of it today.
Or just
Mhm.
one day ended up.
It's fitting that the intro was Joe Biden falling down and falling asleep while we're all sitting around here being old people today.
How old are you guys? Are you
30.
40 yet? Are you
Not
40 yet? Okay. All right.
I'm
We're all under 40.
I think I'm 36.
He said-
You-
Somewhere
Stop,
between-
Mark, you
you're
can
my-
laugh. You can laugh.
34 and
It's
38.
hard. It's impossible
forget.
to figure it out. You got.
I might be
I have to go
36.
back
I
to
don't know.
I got to look at my year. Born. What
Yes,
year I
Dag,
was born
Dag,
would
you're
be,
my brother's age. You're 36. I'm
Okay.
38. I'll be 39 here in a couple months.
I guess I didn't I couldn't remember in my late 20s, but when I turned 30, that was kind of a big.
Well,
big
that's
number for me,
yeah.
so I remember
But
that.
those are easy. It's just decades. When you start getting in those different, sevens and eights and stuff, it's hard to remember.
Just all over from there.
I can add and subtract with 5s and 10s fairly easy, but the ones place when it gets tough.
The
So
failing of-
I'm the oldest. How about that?
Wow.
Congratulations.
Hmm,
You definitely give the boomer vibe.
let's go. I got to bring something to the show.
Oh, well,
I wore my young man style hat today to offset my age. I can't get into these kind of brims. I haven't been able to do it.
You got to bend it, man.
Or wear it backwards.
Then it's really weird. I don't think you're supposed to bend them.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. That's a little better.
Just don't remember creasing it down the middle, just taking somebody's hat and folding it in half.
Man,
Do you guys ever do
good
that?
old regular style baseball hat.
Jerk. Yeah, I'm supposed to touch another man's hat.
When you're like,
like an iron
12,
ball.
you're touching every man's everything. You know, so,
Oh,
uh,
I had a different middle school experience.
Yeah,
Yeah, y'all were a little
didn't
more.
go through that phase, Clyde.
Y'all were a little more explorative up north than what we are in the south.
Hey, don't lump me in with him.
Well,
Snowed in over the winter, man. What are you supposed to do?
Michigan's like the redneck north. It's,
no, it's not.
Except for the east side.
It's
Then go to
Canadian
Canada.
and city.
yeah, like Michigan, Wisconsin, the Dakotas. They're like the redneck north. They're north because they're cold, but they're not north. They're not like New
Yankees.
Englander type north. Yeah, they're not Yankees.
Clyde.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I don't care.
We want to talk about our favorite athlete.
Justin Bieber?
I mean, we can talk about Justin Bieber since y'all didn't do that Friday. See,
We forgot.
I
I'm
end
trying
up
to think of who our favorite athlete is. The
dude.
woman.
The woman,
Who's the
dude.
dude?
This
I'm going to say
woman, dude.
Lena Dunham, but I know that's not right.
Or the dude who's a woman.
Lena Dunham.
I almost said that.
Yeah, so
Someone
it's
read
over.
this because Justin's having a coughing fit right now. And I have a cherry in my mouth.
He's smoking.
Sorry, I'm researching other news.
I didn't. I
Fuck,
didn't
sorry.
actually-
I think
he didn't
my
send
wife
that
might
one.
have given me COVID.
Oh, nice.
Poll finds how most Americans feel about transgender athletes. And surprise, surprise,
And
the majority of Americans don't think that transgender women should be competing with biological women.
I don't remember
What an
taking this
outrageous
poll.
thing. You didn't what?
Dag
I
doesn't
didn't
get to
take the
ride that
poll.
poll.
I can't understand a damn thing else.
Got to be a joke about taking polls in there somewhere. Come on, guys. It's such a perfect thing.
Couldn't understand with a pole in your mouth.
Over the past few years, the number of transgender athletes competing in sports has grown. However, while familiarity with and tolerance for transgender people are on the rise, tolerance of transgender athletes is not, at least according to a recent poll.
I don't see that.
The poll conducted May 4th through 17th amongst 1,500 people across the U.S. finds that 55% of Americans are opposed to allowing transgender women and girls to compete with other women and girls in high school sports. And 58% are opposed to it for college and professional sports.
It's not a huge margin.
No, but it is.
Yeah, we need to pump those numbers up a bit.
If you read through the article, it does go on to say that's actually increased. It had been, so it's like 50, whatever it is, 52% or 58% don't think that transgender women should be allowed to compete with biological women, and then only like 20% think that they should be allowed to compete, and then the rest are like undecided or don't care. So the number who agree with it is really, really low as compared to the number who outright disagree. Like there's a large middle section that just doesn't give a shit one way or the other, or doesn't have an opinion.
Doesn't even know this kind of thing is happening.
That's probably, yeah. They're like, wait, that's the thing?
Yeah. I had to explain what drag shows were to my dad the other day. He's like, why would a man want to dress up in women's clothing and dance in front of children? I was like,
Is that what you guys did for Father's Day?
Well,
that's where I
aside from the
brought 'em.
children. Yeah. Here, Dad, we're gonna make you a little more worldly today. But like, except for the children part, like drag is like not new, right? Like,
that's why I said, I was like, yeah,
oldest.
this is like back in your day, but he still was surprised by it.
There's a King of the Hill where Hank just can't grasp that concept of drag. Same kind of thing.
Don't these guys know about like Hoover? I mean,
J. Edgar, yeah.
I would think that like, you know.
I was just going in disguise for a spy mission.
I think, you know, like, I wonder if it's growing because people didn't really think it through in the beginning. It was kind of like, okay, whatever, like trans women or men, I don't even know which direction it goes, but like, you know, you want to compete with men, like, or women, you know, go for it. And then I think now you're starting to see the fallout of that, of people like Leah, and I think there was a couple of runners or something, and you're seeing it in the high school side of sports, and you know, it's becoming more of an issue. Wasn't there like a trans lady that did some weightlifting stuff at the Olympics?
Yes. See, I think that was a psyop. I think that was an op because it was this massive dude who qualified for the Olympics, and then once she got there, couldn't even get a single lift up off the ground. Like, failed miserably in the qualifying round at the Olympics. So it's like, I think it was an op to try to normalize it, to be like, oh, look, see, just because it's a biological man or a trans woman doesn't mean that they have an unfair advantage. Like, I think it was trying to normalize it and make it more acceptable for those types to be competing in the Olympics.
Remember that chick, Caster Semenya, I think was her name, or something like that? She's from Africa. She was like a sprinter. Like, she was housing everybody, and like they questioned her and gave a blood test, and her testosterone was like high, I think, and but like she was still biologically a female. It was this weird window, and this was before I think all this other stuff kind of fell out. Kind of interesting. I wonder how that played into it.
So she was a biological woman that just had high testosterone levels?
I think so.
I mean, that's not... what was it? There's a college football player that had gotten an injection as an infant, and it causes... there's like a really rare blood disease that it does... It's not like... it doesn't have a negative impact on like his life, but it's a rare blood thing that... that stuff like lingers with you. So he could never pass a drug test to actually compete as a college football player because he always registers as having like these insanely high steroid levels when it was something that he was given as a child because he gotten really sick or something. But he has like this rare blood disease that it stays in his system like forever. So even though he's never taken steroids, his blood tests like really high for steroid levels because of this like blood disease. He's been, I don't know if he ever actually got to compete. He spent his entire collegiate career fighting with the NCAA to try to get them to let him like compete and play football because he never has done steroids, but he couldn't pass a blood test for it.
But if he does get in, he could do steroids, and they'd never be able to know.
I mean, that's if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
So
he would be like a real life.
This lady was intersex, assigned female at birth, and has XY chromosomes because she has presence of internal testes. So in 2019, World Athletic rules came into force preventing women like her from participating in 4, 8, and 1,500 meter events in the female classification, unless they take medication to suppress their testosterone levels. Interesting. I didn't know that was a thing that they could do that, or that they did that.
Usually those people aren't athletes.
Well, no, I'm just the whole like the ruling, or like they made that rule that if you're going to have these higher levels of testosterone, you need to take something to suppress it. How does that work with trans men or men that have become women? Can't trans women? Is that a trans woman?
I think that's how it works. Yeah, what you're transitioning to is what they.
Okay, so how does that work? Because I guess they're already taking meds to suppress testosterone. I'm so confused by it all, man. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sure your kids have some pamphlets or something about it in their backpacks. If you check, it probably tells you all about it.
Well, it's like this person that you're talking about, the Castor Semenya.
Semenya?
Yeah, that's not a. She isn't a trans woman. That's a super rare birth thing. So
this is the the thing that people bring up. It's kind of like the abortion in case of rape or incest thing. Is they're like, well, what about people who are born with both parts? It's like, well, that's like 0.01% of the population, but
so you're saying they can rape themselves?
Yikes.
Oh, that one took a second to set in.
Well, speaking of raping yourself.
Oh boy.
June 7th primary exposes drawbacks of California's nonpartisan top 2 system. So apparently California does this thing where it's not a for the primaries you vote.
How can you describe California as nonpartisan anyway?
Exactly. Well, that's
like good God, man.
So that's the thing with this is California's not nonpartisan. So what you end up with is this top 2 system that they use. You just go and vote for everybody in the primary, regardless of which party they're running as, and then the top 2 are the ones who you pick between come November. Well, because it always ends up being 2 fucking Democrats, the Republican candidate in this particular race started sending out flyers and stuff promoting one of the Democrat candidates over the other one, like really bashing on the other one and really pushing for the one with the hope that it would get everybody to vote for one of the Democrat candidates and not vote for the other one, and then he could end up being coming in second place and actually make it to the runoff come November. And
Nice.
There's still right now it's a
that's the issue. That's the problem, right? Not Jesus. That's what took them to happen to write this article.
So right now the second Democrat has a very, very slim margin over the Republican, but there's they're going through like recounts and stuff, and there's still a chance that it might work out and he might actually end up making the runoff for November. So I mean, and if it works, then he figures something out. He figured a way to game the system. But yeah,
it's not even like it's anything like that crazy or like deceiving is or whatever. You know, it doesn't even seem like anything that like immoral. He's just running ads like they all do.
Right. People have been running tactics like this since voting was a thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's no more immoral than being a politician in the first place. So whatever.
I don't. It's just.
Where's the
what
boomer?
was that? What was that, Joe Biden?
I'm gonna sum this up in one word, guys.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. Like the fact that this is what it took for them to realize that this is a broken system is like, oh, the Republican might get on the ticket. Like that, like, geez, man. Anybody that looked at California politics and knew how they ran their primaries could have told you that the second they looked at it. But this is what it takes. Like,
right, the Republican trying to game the Republican trying to game the system to get himself into the runoff is what caused them to look at this and say, "Oh, maybe there's something wrong with this way we're doing this."
Like, are people that like just ignorant and blind, yes. Or is it like? And I find that hard to believe. How can you be that stupid? Like,
I think that like. Like everybody wants like a simple like solution to make like, like that's the whole point of like what we think of, or let's say what normal people think of like democracy is. It's like, they want to be the most fair or what have you. So it's always something that's like, okay, well, we'll fix it in this way. It's going to make it more fair. We'll do this top two thing. We'll do tiered voting. We'll do, more parties maybe. But no matter what, they all have their own things that make it like just stupid, obvious examples of why, like, government democracy is like retarded, So it's, I don't know, they're going to keep doing shit like this. And of course, the people actually making these policies, I'm sure know very well what they're doing. And like in this instance, okay, well, this is great because then no matter what, we can get people voting Democrat versus Democrat, and we'll always have Democrats, right? That was the point of them doing this, right? And now that, like Clyde's saying, it's blown up in their face or whatever, possibly because it gets a Republican in there, maybe that's not even a bad thing, because then it's, oh, look what we get to do. We get to show how evil and deceitful Republicans are. Deceitful, that's how you say that. Damn. Republicans are. So, it's still California. The Democrats are always going to come out on top one way or another, right? So at least they get to make Republicans look more evil in the process.
I liked your word deceivious better.
Yeah.
I think we should add that to the dictionary.
I got past the point in the word where you have to change it for the different tense, and I was like, oh fuck, I guess I gotta finish this out.
Deceivious. Sounds like a Marvel bad guy.
Ooh. Deceivious.
What's up,
Let's
Trey?
see.
What
50
up?
Daniel.
What up, blood?
I don't know who Trey is. No, I feel bad.
It's 50 Cent's little nephew.
Okay. Good deal. I like that. Makes sense.
He used to have a lot more clout, but inflation, it doesn't.
Yeah.
50 Cent not go as far as he used to. Ooh.
Here we go. New research identifies a cognitive paradox related to anti-vaccine attitudes.
I love when people tell me how I'm crazy and evil for not wanting to get stuck with these things. Let's hear it.
Yes, since the creation of COVID-19 vaccines, the push for mass vaccinations has been stalled and criticized due to waves of misinformation and distrust. But why are some people so quick to believe dubious claims over well-established science? A study published in Personality and Individual Differences suggests that people who reject the COVID-19 vaccine are more likely to believe alternative facts, and that this is linked to less intellectual humility, higher levels of distrust, and a stronger reliance on intuition.
I like that they call it alternative facts, right?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't say that they're not facts, right? It just says that this is another side of potential truth, right?
I like how they call it the phrase "reject the COVID-19 vaccine." It really is like religion. They reject Jesus Christ as their savior. Is basically what they could be saying here.
Yeah, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to widespread misinformation that has caused action or deliberate inaction in regards to masking, vaccines, and more for many people. For people who believe the science and take public health precautions, believing in alternative facts can be difficult to fathom. Previous research has shown that this can be attributed to needing certainty while in a scary situation, wanting exclusive information and knowledge about a topic or event, or expressing dismay.
People made fun of was it Kellyanne Conway who said alternative facts? They made fun of her for using that term, but Malice says they're truthful but not or they're factual but not truthful. That's basically what this is, where they'll put in some truths, but they're not going to give the whole truth. And I don't know if Kellyanne Conway was getting at that when she said alternative facts, but she was right in what she said.
All right, I'm out, y'all. Enjoy. Happy belated Juneteenth.
Hey, Boomer.
What happened? Did his wife tell him that's enough?
Yeah, she
maybe
said
the dog caught the chicken.
She's in the foreground going like this. Okay.
Yeah, the alternative facts thing is I'm trying to think of why do they call it alternative facts? It's like they're acknowledging that yes, these are factual statements. Yes, these are correct. Yes, there's nothing especially when you've seen that a lot of the alternative facts that the people who are anti-vaxxers have kind of run with as the reasoning for not getting on board with this stuff. That shit's now being
Justin Bieber.
reported by the CDC and Pfizer themselves. Like all of the stuff that was alternative facts that we were believing in, now that's all actually being reported as factual facts by all the people who are, the science that we're supposed to trust.
It's funny about like this article, and totally agree. Something about this article, like you could just, this could be the exact same article, but like from the other side, like explaining, oh, they're just looking for a way to feel like everything's going to be okay, and it's like, yeah, that's what people who want the vaccine are saying, like I don't care if it works or not, just put something in my arm so I feel better about it, so it's just like the same. But that's funny because when you say like alternative facts, I mean you're setting everything up for this kind of situation, where it's just two people making the exact same argument against each other. And I mean, I guess they're both kind of right, in some ways. Like that is what the other side's looking for. Of course, our side's the right one, obviously.
Well, so that's like whenever they talk about safe and effective and stuff like that, like what they use as the reference point for a lot of their talking points on that side, on the side of the science, it doesn't actually talk about, they don't actually talk about specifics of what they're talking about. Like they use other stuff that, well, vaccines are traditionally safe and effective, and if you look at all of this research that's been done on these different vaccines and yada 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 yada, and of course all of that's been kind of proven out to be bullshit anyway, because who is it, Peter McCullough, that's done all the, like, that's talked about how on these like peer reviewed articles that they have for the safety and efficacy of these different vaccines and medications and stuff, they take, like Pfizer or Moderna, they take all of the information and then they weed out the stuff that doesn't look good, and then they publish that as the facts, and then they give it out to the doctors, and then the doctors look at the information that they've been given, and so then it's peer reviewed, but they're only reviewing, like, okay, it's peer reviewed and it says that it's safe and effective, blah blah blah. They're only reviewing what they were given by the pharmaceutical company to begin with. Like they're not even being given the full analysis of everything. They're only given the stuff that looks good.
People think that peer reviewed means that other scientists did the experiment and got the same result. And that's not what it means at all. It means that somebody did an experiment and somebody else just read a paper about it and said, okay, looks good.
Like 5 scientists who already agree with you because they're already in the system. And you're peer reviewing their shit. And so it's in both y'all's best interest to pass each other shit. It's nice little feedback loop.
Yeah, exactly. And people get so hung up in the, peer review, like in our favorite movie, What About the Meteor? I forget what it's called now.
Don't look up.
Don't look up.
Yeah, that one. That they're screaming peer review, peer review, peer review. And I'm like, that doesn't mean what you like are implying it means.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as strong of a check. And I'm not saying it's not something that, could be important in the scientific process, but, the way that it's used is...
It's like
not honest.
97% of scientists agree, and what was it? Under 50 scientists were a part of that study. Like I could find under 50 scientists who say that climate change isn't real, and they both could be using legitimate data and just deriving 2 completely different stances from the data.
Yeah.
Alternative facts.
Well, I mean, that's like the all the studies that they would do that showed that ivermectin and hydrochloroquine were ineffective, but then when you went and looked at the way they were conducting the studies, like they were deliberately doing it in a way that it wasn't going to work. It's like you're not using it the way that it's actually been suggested to use it.
People?
Yeah,
like they were killing people with it.
This is why I am
crazy.
I'm not a postmodernist at all unless it comes to science, because science is completely fake.
Well, I mean, it is. It's
constantly changing, at least. after spoken about with such certainty by these clowns.
Using statistics to tell different stories based on whatever you want it to tell. Like when the ivermectin thing came out, there was what was it? It was like a 400% increase in the state of Mississippi of calls to poison control for people who were like getting sick taking ivermectin, except that it went from 0 to 3. It's like there had been no one had called about that over the previous like 12 or 18 months or something, and then 3 people called about it. So that's a 400% increase. Oh my god, everybody's dying because they're eating horse paste. And it's like, no, three dumbasses did it, and it's fucking Mississippi. That's pretty impressive. There was only 3 dumbasses.
But where's the lie? It's just the presentation. And I do have to fault some, like I'll do a lot of except the people who, of course, this doesn't help because the result is awful. But the people who hear that headline and don't go, well, I better check and make sure it's not like 3 motherfucking people. Because that's where like we would immediately think, like, well, yeah, but how many people is that? And most people don't. They just go, oh my goodness. Did I see you guys with the fentanyl and the money? We were at a poker game last week, and there's like these old boomers sitting around, and one of them's like, if you find money on the ground, don't pick it up. I heard on the TV that they're putting fentanyl on money and leaving it on the ground, so when you pick it up, you die. You OD on fentanyl because there's fentanyl residue. It happened to somebody with $100 like 2 towns over.
Yeah, that's what happened to George Floyd.
And I was like, no, it didn't. Like, it didn't happen. Like, that's the same people who like put drugs in the Halloween candy for kids. You know what I mean? Like, no, people don't do that.
This was like that whole thing started right because a guy wanted to murder his wife with candy, wife and kids, and he got their insurance money. Like the whole
really?
poison and
I never
candy.
heard that. Yeah. Wow, I've never heard a factual like reason behind that.
Yeah, I can't remember where I first heard this, but.
Just a couple, that's like an urban legend.
I don't know. A couple like weeks after he poisoned them with their Halloween candy, he collected on his check, and people were like, "Oh, this is kind of weird." And they looked.
I mean, you're not supposed to collect on the check.
Well, just the whole timing of everything, and he didn't seem to be too upset. I don't know. I have to look this up. I'll find the story.
So did he get away with it?
No, he did not.
What did he do wrong?
That's
I guess is what I'm getting at. Like
he poisoned his wife and kids' Halloween candy.
Yeah, but how did he get caught? Is what I like. There's got to be a way to do that to not get
I'll
caught.
have to look it up. It was my uncle, but I can't remember what all.
Well, it's better than the original story about people. Because that makes sense. Where people just drugging Halloween candy doesn't make sense.
Right, like who? I mean, there are sick people out there, but that it's like a widespread thing. That poisoning candy just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I think the whole residue, like fentanyl residue thing, is a lot of bullshit too. To be honest, to get people really scared of it. The way they report fentanyl stuff on the news is pretty insane, for sure. And I mean, fentanyl, you shouldn't play with that shit. Like,
Stay away from it.
Yeah. Junkies are a resilient bunch. They know what they're doing.
Well, if you're going to be dealing with junkies, you might need some body armor.
Ooh, yeah, this is funny. I haven't really read this. I just found it after we had started. But
new body armor rules in New York miss the vest worn by the Buffalo Killer. Isn't this like government to a T? Like, they're going to put in these new body armor rules because of the Buffalo Killer, but then the rules that they put in place don't actually apply to the vest that the Buffalo Killer used. So, like, what was the point?
Yeah, it looks like it applies to like the soft, like the Kevlar vests, and doesn't apply to like plate carriers, which I think that most people, people in our realm who play with guns, I think most of them use like plate carrier style armor anyhow, because I think it's like the only one that's really effective against like rifle rounds, right? The regular vests are just for like stabbing and pistol caliber. So I don't know. I mean, probably just an excuse for them, of course, to pass something that makes no difference, that they've been wanting to do anyhow. But it's kind of funny that they neglected to do the plate carriers. I'm almost wondering if it's not because it's kind of hard to write a law against plates of steel, because like plates of steel just exist everywhere. So how do you say you can't own a plate of steel that's 12 inches wide by 50, I don't know how big they are, but 12 by 16, that sounds about right. Maybe a little taller.
Just from breezing through this and reading it really quickly, it looks like they as you would expect, they rammed this legislation through really quickly and didn't actually do their research, and they just banned the thing that's like most common, which is the soft like Kevlar type vest. So they
the movies say bulletproof vests, so.
Yeah. So in true government form, they didn't actually do any of their homework, and they don't know what they're talking about to begin with. So here they are, just fucking it up as usual.
Just buy one of those 100-pound exercise weighted vests as a workaround. You'd be all right. Next they'll be banning those. Shouldn't have given that idea.
Well, I mean, yeah, right wing exercise exercise is a right wing plot or whatever it is.
Speaking of which, Mark and I are going to be talking about that on my show here in about 30 minutes or so.
Wait, that's today?
Swear, we just had this conversation yesterday.
Has anybody, going back to the vaccine talk, has anybody noticed how, I don't even want to say this out loud.
Just say it.
I don't hear
Calm
anything about
down.
COVID anymore. Only by the absolute nuts.
Do you mean in real life or on TV?
I guess I don't watch a lot of TV, so
Or internet or whatever.
real life daily interactions and stuff.
Daily interactions? Yeah, very few.
I feel like
we
Ukraine Mania played its part.
Mm-hmm. We have maybe like 1% of people wearing masks here since, I don't know, the recent scare of the last month, whatever the fuck it is. But we've had like.
Oh, was there an uptick in cases?
Like every once in a while, I'll see somebody riding around in their car with a mask on, or like see somebody in a store with a mask on, but it's very, very rare. They don't talk about cases anymore. I think it's over. I think for the people who are like going to worship at the altar of Anthony Fauci for the rest of their lives and just be terrified to ever go outside again without wearing a full hazmat suit, like those people, it'll always be a thing for them. But for the average population, they've moved on. Like my wife was diagnosed last Tuesday or Wednesday, and Thursday she was out chasing chickens in the yard and dragging tree limbs across the yard.
Quarantining for 2 weeks then, so.
Yeah.
I called my boss like when she was diagnosed. I was like, so what's company policy on this? And he said, "Are you vaccinated?" And as every time he's asked me that, I've just laughed. And he's like, "Yeah, I forgot about that." He said, "Well, let me find out." I'm like, "Yeah, there's no quarantine, nothing. Like, if you start feeling sick, then we'll address it at that time. But as long as you're good."
The way it's supposed to be handled when you have a cold.
Right.
The
real like
push.
black. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No,
I was just saying a real like black pill kind of cynical view of this is like both Fauci and Gates were saying in 2020, yeah, this will be over in the spring of 2022. And if you look at it in a real sick, twisted way, they were kind of right. They said it'd be done when they say it was done, unfortunately.
Speaking of that, so they've got the vaccines for 5 years for under 5-year-olds now.
Yeah,
and
that's been the big thing the last week.
Rand Paul asked Fauci, like, where did that come from? Is there any research or statistics or data showing that this is like necessary or effective or will have any sort of an impact? And Fauci's just straight up like, no, there's no justification for this. You can't even like make up some bullshit anymore. Like, you're getting really lazy with this.
He's got to go back into hiding.
That's been the crazy thing to me is the young kid vaccine here lately, and the people that are getting on the news to talk about it, and just like, oh yeah, well, it'll be here, and it'll provide them protection. And we don't really have a lot of data for how many kids have been, but they of course phrase it in the bad way. We don't really know, so
we don't really know because the data says that it's fucking 0, not a 1. That's when it never happens. You don't have any data because it doesn't ever happen.
Yeah, they're definitely not. Mainstream news at least is still definitely like towing the line of let's get these shots in the arms of the fucking 6 months old and up. It's pretty sick, man. Yeah.
Well, don't put it on here. You're gonna tell on him.
Oh, my bad. I struggle not to be fed posty here lately.
Well, he admitted that he wants to be fed posty, so yeah, man. I think that I have seen stuff about the what do they call it, the vaccine requirements for public school, and that it's almost like it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to be added to that roster.
Well,
That's sick.
More of an incentive to pull my kids out of public school and homeschool.
Mm-hmm.
Burn the schools down, something like that. I don't know.
They said I struggle not to be fed posty, and then
No, I said I struggle not to. Not that I succeed in not doing it. I said I struggle with it.
yeah, you pull out
like
the spear every show.
I dream of it daily.
I have not pulled out the spear on this show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's not illegal to have dreams.
Sitting over there in the corner. See, I got a nice baseball bat collection back here.
Oh, is that what those are? I was wondering. It almost looked like hedge clippers from my angle. Wasn't sure.
No, it's like 6 baseball bats. They're varying sizes and weights, and that's our club collection. Like, if somebody breaks into the
window,
the kids have all picked their bat. Like in the event that like somebody tries to break in, they've all got one that they're going for. And, like, it's not
Nice little system.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good time for anybody trying to break into our house. Like, you're number one, you're going to get attacked by the giant biting horse wherever he is, and then you're going to have all of my kids like coming at you with baseball bats to club you to death. Then you're going to have me with the spear, and then I'm sure my wife will grab a kitchen knife because that seems to be her weapon of choice. So
You better get over all those like back pain and leg pains if you want to be using that spear effectively, though.
I'm gonna start doing yoga. I think.
He's like, I've gone gay.
I'm just.
We can start together, Justin, and then we don't have to be like gay. We can be like a support group for each other.
That sounds even more gay,
gay
to
for
be
getting
honest,
into yoga.
guys.
That's what we should do. Is Monday, Wednesday, Friday we do the show, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays we do morning yoga with the morning after. That way, anybody else who doesn't want to feel gay can join us, and we can all do yoga together, and not have to deal with getting old and having all of these pains that are associated.
The
Broga. Oh God.
Oh.
My town's got all kinds of. Yeah, of course, Magoo.
Yeah.
Have to break that down, Mark. Explain the Broga.
Thank you, Trey.
I
Appreciate it.
I just pretended to get it so I wouldn't look stupid, so I'm glad you went that extra mile for me.
It's like B-dubs.
No, they got a whole bunch of like do yoga with the goats, do yoga with the cats around here. Do they have that there as well?
Oh, who was it that shared the article about the goat yoga? Was that?
That was probably a client article.
Yeah.
Dude, you can make a bit of money doing goat yoga. People just come because it's fun. Yeah, because they want to say they went and did goat yoga.
Why
So
is it
chicks
typically
just-
with goats? Is it because goats are just so chill and they're non-judgmental
They're
and all
cute.
this?
They jump on top of you. They're relatively harmless. They're herbivores, so their pee and poop isn't gross like meat-eating animals. They're just pretty tolerable and funny. So chicks just love goats. So they get to pretend like they're out doing yoga. They get to pretend like they went and worked out.
Are goats allowed in the city limits of Grand Rapids?
Yeah, there probably would be some sort of stipulation that.
Well, they allow fireworks in the city limits, and that drove me nuts last night.
Oh, was there a lot of Juneteenth
Juneteenth
fireworks?
I don't think they were Father's Day fireworks, because fathers usually get up and go to work in the morning. So I'm pretty sure they were Juneteenth.
Juneteenth gunshots.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I don't really dig on fireworks anymore because it like scares my animals. But it's funny because like I'm legally allowed to have fireworks as a farmer because it scares animals. It's a weird paradox.
That is strange.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing some fireworks this year. I'm like, I don't want to do that. It's mean. Our neighbors have cows and shit, you know.
There was a 4th of July a couple of years ago where like fireworks were being set off constantly nonstop all night long, and like I got no sleep, and I was like, why? Like it was like 4 a.m. and they're still going off. So I'm driving to work the next day. A fireworks store had actually burned down. It was just all the product going off all night long.
That's fucking hilarious. Yep. Hopefully they'll get a whole bunch of noise ordinance tickets. Whoever owns that firework place.
It was rebuilt within like a couple months. So
fireworks industry is a mysterious one, isn't it?
yeah.
Like I always wonder how the year-round fireworks stores stay open. I don't know. They're probably just a warehouse for the smaller tents later on. You guys have like the roadside tents around the holidays?
Or in like grocery store, like parking lots and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there's a place over in Missouri called Boomland, and it's open year round, and it's just fireworks. And like you can go over there and get the biggest, most impressive like packs, and like that used to be like a big treat when I was a kid. Is we would go to Boomland and get all of our shit for 4th of July, and like it was awesome. And then my brother burned down a field one year, and we didn't get to have fireworks ever again.
We would stop at Boomland every time we'd like drive back home from Louisiana, because for a while Michigan, like fireworks in the air were illegal, and then once they were illegal, like we got our own Boomlands. But yeah, we would stop there all the time.
Just snakes and sparklers.
Yeah,
And,
all the gay stuff.
all the retarded stuff.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.